What's going on, everyone? TM24 Plays here, and we are back with some more Marvel Snap content. And to be honest, I'm super excited. Today, we're continuing our rankings of Marvel Snap cards, and it's time for the one drops. So, I'm going to rank them from 1 to 28. Now, remember, I'm only doing cards that I actually have and have used before so that I can give an accurate ranking. Now, if a card that you like is ranked low, it doesn't mean it's a bad card. And that's the great thing about Marvel Snap, is that every single card in the game has its uses and can get you wins in one way or another. So don't worry if a card that you like is ranked low. These are just my thoughts and opinions on the cards that I've had with my own experiences. We're going to get into the rankings here in a moment. But before we do, please remember to subscribe and like the video. It really does help me out, and it'll help this channel keep growing and allow me to continue to put content out for you guys on a daily basis. So first off, thank you, and now let's get into some rankings. All right, here we go. We're going to be ranking the one drops. Now, what I'm going to do is I've got all the cards right here. You can kind of see my mouse flickering over them, and I'm going to pick them one by one and kind of place them where I think they should be roughly. Now, that might change depending on cards that come up after. Maybe, I change my mind. I think one card's a little bit better. It needs to be ranked higher. Maybe it needs to be ranked lower. So I'll be moving these around as we go. So they might change a little bit. So you got to stay till the end to see the final rankings. But we are going to start off with Ebony Maw here. So, Ebony Maw. You can't play this after turn 3. And ongoing, you can't play cards here. But he's 1/7. Honestly, I've had kind of mixed experiences with Ebony Maw. He's strong, but overall, I think he's kind of in the middle of the one drops. I don't think he's terrible. I do see his uses, but I think he lines up really nicely, kind of at the 14 range, right in the middle of these rankings. Now, remember, that might change, but for now, I think that's where he's at. Now, Titania, when any card is played here, when any card is played at this location, this card switches sides. I have had really good experiences with her. I think she deserves to be higher rated than Ebony Maw. I think it's close. She does have a high power, the closest power to Ebony Maw, not counting Sunspot, which we'll get to him later. But I do think she deserves to be higher rated than Ebony Maw, and I think it might be 1, maybe 2 spots. I think I feel comfortable putting her at 11 to start, and we'll kind of see where this goes. Next up is Zero, and Zero is one of my favorite one-drops. I can't even lie. I'm going to put him in my top 5. I'm not sure exactly where he's going to be. I think his effect is super unique. It helps enable some decks, and it can get rid of negative effects. So for now, I think it's a solid spot to kind of put him at that 3 range. And I feel comfortable with him being there, knowing some of the other one-drops that we have to come. Blade. Okay. Discard a card from your hand. He's a 1/3, so he's kind of on the stronger side in terms of power. He's got his on reveal that works for those types of decks. I don't know. I personally don't care for Blade all that much. To me, he's very similar to Ebony Maw in that I've kind of had mixed experiences. I feel comfortable kind of putting him right there. I do think Titania's better than he is, so I'm going to keep her ahead of him, but I am going to put Blade ahead of Ebony Maw for now. And honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, actually, maybe he's a little bit worse. Who would I rather have? I think I would rather have Blade, actually. So, yeah, I'm going to put him 1 spot ahead of Ebony Maw. Next up is Vaatu the Watcher. Once this card is in your hand, you can see unrevealed locations. I think that's a super cool effect. He just, honestly, isn't all that strong. Knowing those is great, but it doesn't give you that much of an advantage. So I think he deserves to go a little bit lower than Ebony Maw. He's probably, honestly, one of the weaker one-drops. I think 22 is probably a pretty good spot for him. Yondu, on reveal, remove the top card of your opponent's deck. Yondu, I think, is really strong. I think he's a very good card. Getting rid of, one of your opponent's cards could be super strong. Maybe you hit something really powerful. I do think he is probably better than Titania. I prefer Zero myself to him, but I do think he deserves to be up there, maybe in the top 5. For now, I'm going to put him at 7. I think that's a fair spot for now. Remember, this could change, but I think that's pretty good for him for now. Next up, we've got Rocket Raccoon. If your opponent played a card here, +2 power. So he comes to a 1/4 if you hit, but I think that's the big problem is I think you've kind of got to get lucky. You've got to hit with him, and I think that's easier said than done. Now, you can certainly set it up, but I honestly think that those style of cards aren't that strong right now, and I feel pretty comfortable putting him ahead of Vatu, but I don't think he's quite making it to the kind of this third tier of one drops quite yet. Quinjet. Now, I have not used Quinjet a whole lot. I've used him a couple times. I've seen him used against me a lot more than I've actually used him myself. Well, used it myself. I personally don't think it's that strong. I do think it's probably stronger than Rocket Raccoon. I don't think it's by much, though. I think it's probably only one spot ahead. That brings us up to Quicksilver. So, he starts in your opening hand. He's a 1-2. Now, playing on curve is nice. It's awesome to get power down, but honestly, it's just not that great of a card once you start to climb the ranks. Now, I did use him a lot when the game first came out. I loved going Quicksilver right into Domino, but I don't think he is all that strong currently, and honestly, I am probably more likely to use Vatu than I am Quicksilver at this point in time. I'm thinking maybe he moves to 24, my number, which is a good spot for him to be. Nightcrawler. You can move this once. He's a 1-2. Now, I like Nightcrawler. I think movement abilities are super strong in Snap, being able to get out of a location maybe that you've lost, save some of that power, and move it elsewhere. I think is really good. He's only a 1-2, but he also can enable some other cards like Spider-Man, Kraven, things like that. So I think Nightcrawler is pretty strong. I think I would rather have Nightcrawler than Blade. I don't know, though, if I would rather have it than Titania. So for now, I'm going to put Nightcrawler kind of in that 12 spot. Which brings us to M'Baku. Finally, we have a top 5 challenger for Zero. M'Baku is probably the best one-drop in the game. We are going to stick him right in that number 1 spot for now, and that is where he is going to stay. Misty Knight. No ability, so she's great in those Patriot-style decks. I do see a lot of play out of her, but she's only a 1-2. I don't think she's that strong. I think there are better options, but I can see why she's played as much as she is. I think I would rather have, Ebony Maw and Blade. Even there, I think is a little bit high. I don't like Misty Knight as much as maybe she's played. So I'm going to stick her at 16 and leave her there for now. All right, we've got another Rocket Raccoon style card in Mantis. You get a card from their deck, and honestly, I don't think that's that strong. If I wanted to play their cards, I would have put their cards in my deck. So for me, Mantis is not that great. I think I've barely put her in any decks. Maybe if I was just making a Guardian of the Galaxy deck, but for me, she's not very strong. I'm going to put her at 26 for now. Which brings us to Korg. A 1-2 shuffle rock into your opponent's deck. I think Korg's really strong. I think he's up there with Yondu. I think those two need to be next to each other. They both might creep into the top 5. I am not quite sure yet. I think I prefer Korg a little bit to Yondu, but there's no guarantee that it hits the rock, that your opponent's going to hit that rock. So maybe I'm going to put Yondu above him, and I think I'm going to bump Yondu 1 spot, bump Korg 1 spot, and they're both knocking on the door of the top 5. I think they could both get in there with M'Baku and with Zero, and it depends on these cards coming up, but I think they've both got a real shot to crack the top 5 of these 1-drops. All right, another movement card in Iron Fist. On reveal, move the next card you play 1 location to the left after it reveals. I think Iron Fist is stronger than he looks. I think that is a very good ability. Now, the question is, where do we rank him? Do I think he's better than Titania? Maybe barely? Maybe barely. So let's throw him at the 10 spot. I think for now, I feel pretty good with that, is putting him right there at number 10. Now, remember, these might change, but for now, this is kind of where I'm looking at. We've done a few cards. We've done how many? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So we're a little over halfway of ranking all the 1-drops that we got. And right now, I feel like this list is pretty strong. Like I said, I think Yondu and Korg could probably move up a couple spots. I feel good with Zero and M'Baku right there. I think overall this list is pretty strong. Looking at Vatu, though, I think maybe I need to move him down at least one spot. I think I'd definitely rather have Quicksilver. Would I rather have Quicksilver than Vatu? I think so. I think we're going to move Quicksilver up, and we're going to move Vatu down. There's no guarantee you hit Vatu early in the game to actually be able to use his ability. So for that reason, I'm gonna move Quicksilver up one. Which brings us to Iceman, and this is another top 5 competitor there for sure. I think Iceman gets into the top 5. He's making one of their cards cost more. It could completely throw off their game plan. So I think Iceman is really, really strong. I think he deserves a spot up there in the top 5. I think I prefer Zero. Like I said, Zero is one of my favorite one-drops. So for now, I'm going to put Iceman at 4. Keep Zero there, and I think I like this so far. I think that looks really strong. Human Torch. When this moves, double its power. Now, he can get insane. He can have a lot of power. You have to build the deck for it. So that kind of holds it back a little bit. Some of these other one-drops have more flexibility than he does. I still think he's really strong. I think I prefer him to Ebony Maw. So let's move Ebony Maw down one. I think I'm going to bump Misty Knight as well. I think I would prefer having Human Torch over either of those. I think I'm going to put Human Torch. Actually, no. I'm changing my mind. I think Human Torch is going to fit real nicely right in between them. I think he can be super strong. I don't think he's all that great, outside of his style of decks, which obviously makes sense. But I think I'd rather have Ebony Maw than Human Torch, but I'd rather have Human Torch than Misty Knight. So maybe that's just preference, but I think Human Torch looks pretty good right now at 16. Next up is Angel. Now, I tried Angel early on in some of those Destroy-style decks, and I never had a whole lot of success for him. When he does come out, it feels pretty good, but it's also only 2 power. So for that reason, I am not very high on Angel. I think he is probably one of the one-drops that I would rather not have. I think maybe 25 is good for him. Would I rather have him than Mantis? Yeah, probably. So I think 25 seems like a fair spot for Angel as of right now. We've got another really strong one-drop here. We've got Agent 13. We're adding a random card to our hand. And I think Agent 13 is strong. I think she competes. She gets a lot of play. I think she deserves to be. Maybe she makes the top 5. I think she's right in line with these, these other 3, with Iceman, Yondu, and Korg. Those one-drops that are actually, you feel pretty good about getting down. I don't like the randomness, so maybe I'm going to bump her down one, and maybe this is time when we move Yondu up into the top 5, and we move Korg up one as well. But I do think Agent 13 is really strong as well, so we're going to keep her there. We're going to put her at 7, and we bumped up Korg one, and we bumped up Yondu one as well. Our top 5 is taking shape, real nice. And next up, we've got Squirrel Girl. So we're adding a 1-power squirrel to each location. I think Squirrel Girl's pretty good. I think she cracks the top 10. I'd rather have her than Iron Fist. Would I rather have her than Agent 13? Probably not. I think she sits really nicely right there at like the 9 spot. I think that's a good spot for Squirrel Girl. Next up, Sunspot. I think he is probably one of the best one-drops in the game, if not the best one. Definitely deserves a spot in the top 5. And I'm sorry, M'Baku, you're going to have to move. I think Sunspot deserves that spot up there. We'll move M'Baku to 2 for now. But Sunspot, super strong. So we're going to leave him there for now. And it looks like we've got a top 5. Maybe that's going to stay. Maybe it's not. We'll kind of see as this plays out. Next up, we've got Nova. Now, if this was before he was nerfed, I think he would probably crack the top 5. I think he would be up there. I think since he has been, it kind of hurts him a little bit, but I still think he cracks the top 10 and makes his way all the way up to number 8, which is still really, really strong. It's just he's not as good as he used to be, and maybe that's just how it is. But I just think that 8 seems like a pretty good spot for him. I think I'd rather have all the cards ahead of him. Of course, except for M'Baku. You guys thought I was going to leave him there. I'm definitely not. I am not super high in M'Baku. I was just messing around. I think he deserves to be probably closer to here, probably 22. I think 22 is fair. So no worries. M'Baku is not in my top 5. I hope none of y'all fell for that. I think he deserves to be in the 20s. I've seen him in more decks than I've probably seen Vaatu. Would I rather have Quicksilver or M'Baku? I think I'd rather have M'Baku. I don't think he's very strong, but we're going to leave him there. Probably closer to where he should actually be. Next up, we've got Hawkeye, all right? On reveal, if you play a card here, +2 power. Now, so he becomes a 1/3. I think that's pretty strong. I think it's stronger than most people think, but overall, I still don't think he's all that good. I have been seeing him a little bit more lately, but overall, I still think his power level is a little bit low. So I think he deserves to be probably... I think Quinjet's better than he is. Maybe he's a 21. I think Quinjet needs to move up one. Would I rather have Hawkeye or Raccoon? At least you control if Hawkeye goes off. So I think that's why I would rather put him there for now. And I think I like how that's lining up so far. All right, next up is Deadpool, and I think Deadpool is really strong. Again, it's another one of these cards that you have to build your deck around. Well, not around him specifically, but around this style. But Deadpool can go insane, and he can get super tough. I think he deserves a spot in the top 10, which I think is going to bump one of these because I don't think he's quite top 5, but I think he deserves a spot in the top 10. I think we've got to move Blade down. I think we've got to move Nightcrawler down. Now the question is, who do we take out of our top 10? It's tough. Honestly, I think it might be Iron Fist. I think Iron Fist, I'm going to have to drop here all the way to 12. I think I would actually rather have Titania, and I think she deserves to be up there, being one cost, 5 power. She's super strong. I think Deadpool deserves a spot up there. I think he probably sits real nice at 10 for right now. We're still filling out. We still have, a spot in the top 5 open. Maybe these all get bumped up. But let's see what else we got here. Next up is Elektra. Destroy a random enemy. 1 cost card at that location. At the location she's played at. I think Elektra's pretty strong, but she's only a 1/1, and you're trying to hit a 1-drop, and there's a ton of things that can counter. Maybe it's armor. Maybe it's, Cosmo. I think she's strong, though. I think I'd rather have her... Would I rather have her than M'Baku? Yeah, I think I probably would. So I think, for me, that's going to put her, for right now, at 21. I think I'd rather have Elektra than M'Baku, Quicksilver, Vaatu, Angel. Yeah, I think that's right so far. Next up is the Hood. Now, I think the Hood is really strong. I've seen him in a lot of decks. He works well in Destroy, and he gives you a 1/6 demon, and 1/6 that's super powerful. So I think he deserves to be up there. Do I think he's better than Zero? I don't think so. Is he better than Iceman? I think it's close. I think he's kind of right in the range with Iceman, Yondu, Korg. I think he's better than Agent 13. I think he's better than Agent 13. I do think Zero maybe gets bumped right now. I think Zero goes up to 2. I think I would rather have Iceman. So I think I'm going to bump him up as well. Now, do we put him ahead of Yondu or not? I don't think so. I think we bump Yondu up. And I think we bump Korg up. And then I think the Hood is going to sit real nicely right here at number 6. I think that's a good spot for him. I think he's knocking on the door of the top 5 of these 1-drops. I just think I'd rather have the other cards that I've got ahead of him. I'm not sure. I'm still making up my mind, but I think this is where I'm at so far. It looks like we've only got 2 cards left. We've got Boston, Ant-Man, and these are 2 strong 1-drops. So already, I think both of them are easily in the top half of cards. So I think we're going to have to move some of these around and kind of drop these a little bit. I think Quicksilver is going to come all the way down here, unfortunately, into the bottom 5. I think M'Baku is probably in the bottom 5. Let me just make sure. Would I rather have Electro or Rocket Raccoon? I think I would still rather have Rocket. I think I would definitely rather have Hawkeye than Rocket. Now, Quinjet. Yeah, I think he deserves to be right next to Hawkeye. I think that's probably a good spot for him. Misty Knight and Human Torch. Are we moving both of those down? I think we are. I think we're going to move both of those down. I think that's fine. I think Misty Knight here at 19 and Human Torch at 18 seem pretty good so far. Now, what about these four? Ebony Maw, Blade, Nightcrawler, and Iron Fist. I think both Ant-Man and Bast are better than both of them. Or better than all four of them. So let's just move all four of these down a few slots. Would I rather have Iron? Yeah, I think I'm good with where I'm at now. Now here's where it gets a little bit tricky. Does Ant-Man crack the first two tiers of one drops? I don't. I mean, he's played. Would I rather have him? Honestly, I think I've got to move Deadpool. I think I'm moving Deadpool to 13. Would I rather have Ant-Man or Tatiana? She's better than Ant-Man is, right? Is Deadpool better than Ant-Man? Actually, I think Deadpool is probably better than Ant-Man. So let's move Ant-Man to 13. And actually, I think I'm going to change my mind here. I think I need to move Nova down, and I think I need to move Squirrel Girl down as well. So I think Squirrel Girl is going to get pushed here. And unfortunately, I think I'm going to drop Nova as well. Would I rather have Nova or Deadpool? Actually, I kind of like how this is lined up so far. I think that looks pretty good. And we've got only our one card left. All we got left is Boss. Now, where would we put Boss? Is he better than Ant-Man? I think he's better than Ant-Man. Is he better than Agent 13? I think in his decks he is. I think he's better than Agent 13. What about the Hood? Would I rather have Boss or the Hood? Honestly, I think I'd rather have the Hood. So maybe Boss is kind of a good spot right at 7. So let's drop Boss in to his slot and then take a look at our list and see where we are at. So we've got Sunspot at 1, Zero at 2. I think those are both pretty good. Like I said, I really, really like Zero. That's why I've got him so high. I think he's just super useful. There are ways to kind of counter his negative ability, if you can even call it that, and he can counter negative abilities. So that's why I've got Zero so high. Iceman, I think, is really strong. Yondu, Korg. I do think I prefer Yondu to Korg. What about the Hood and Boss, though? Would I rather have Korg or the Hood? Honestly, I think I'd rather have the Hood. I think I'm going to put the Hood up. I think I'm going to put the Hood up at 5. Now, how does that feel? That seems pretty good. Would I rather have Boss or Agent 13? I think I'd rather have... Would I rather have Agent 13? Yondu's strong. Most of the time he hits Chavez, though. I think I'm going to bump the Hood. I think I'm going to bump the Hood after thinking about it a little bit. I think the Hood is going to be up here for me. I think he's in the top 5. I think he's number 4 right now. Yondu being 5. Korg being 6. I think Yondu and Korg are so close that they've got good spots there. Is Boss better than either of them? I really like Boss. I do. I don't think so, though. I think Boss is going to be fine there. Is he better than Agent 13? Honestly, I'm not sure. I think I'm going to change Boss with Agent 13. She sees a ton of play. Even just getting a card in your hand is pretty good. Overall, I think... Okay, Sunspot at 1, yep. Zero at 2, that seems fine. Iceman strong. The Hood... Does he deserve to be ahead of Yondu? That's difficult. But yeah, I'm going to leave the Hood there. Yondu at 5. Korg at 6. Agent 13 at 7. Bost at 8. She's, like I said, I think she's amazing. Ant-Man at 9. Ahead of Nova. Yeah, I would say that. Nova ahead of Tatiana. Personally, for me, I don't think it is. I think Tatiana gets into the top 5 right here. So we're going to flip those. I think she makes it into the top 10. Nova over Deadpool. Yeah, I think so. Deadpool over Squirrel Girl. Probably. Squirrel Girl over Iron Fist. Yeah, I would say so. I think Squirrel Girl is better than Iron Fist. Iron Fist or Nightcrawler? Honestly, I think I got to bump Nightcrawler. I think I would prefer Nightcrawler to Iron Fist. So we're going to drop him down to 15, move Nightcrawler up. Blade at 16. That seems okay. I do think I'd rather have Blade than Ebony Maw. I just feel like he's just dead in your hand. Human Torch at 18. Yeah, that seems okay. Misty Knight at 19. Quinjet at 20. Those seem fine. I do prefer Hawkeye to Rocket Raccoon. Elektra over M'Baku, which I'm sorry. M'Baku, you're not in the top 5. You're closer to the bottom 5. 24 is a good spot, though. That's a great number. Quicksilver at 25. Yeah. But I'd rather have Vaatu or Quicksilver. Quicksilver for sure. Vaatu or Angel. Vaatu. And then Angel or Mantis. That's tough. That is tough. But actually, I think I'm going to flip them. I think I'm going to put Mantis right here at 27 and move Angel there to 28. And I think these are going to be my rankings for now. So what I want y'all to do is take a quick look at this list and let me know what you think. How did I do? Did I get it right? You think my top 5 here is pretty strong? What about my bottom 5? I hope you guys didn't think I was actually going to leave M'Baku up there because I think we all know that he probably is closer to here than up there. But overall, I think I did well. I think this list is pretty accurate, at least from my perspective. But please let me know. Remember to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow when we rank the 2 drops. Until then, have some fun.